Welcome, YouTubers. It's quiz time, sponsored by GreatDanePicks.com, a handicapping website. I'm going to just go over a quick little session here about a certain scenario, and I'll put some questions to it. But the scenario, I'll recap it here, which is this is a theoretical scenario just to make the dollars even. And I know you don't win and lose every single day. It's kind of very variable, but let's say you bet an even $1,000 per day for a year, and we'll call that 364 days, January to December, on sports. And let's say it doesn't matter what the bets are, just, I don't know, $1,001 bets, $110 bets, or $20 bets, but some amount of bets that you're going to make a little bit of money and not just like all win, all loss, right? Not one $1,000 bet, right? You know, because just to make the additive easier. And let's say that each day you make exactly $10 in profit. So you go a little over 500 there, right? You know, and on your betting, and you generate a profit, exact profit of $10 every single day. Then let's load up that scenario and ask these questions. And I got 7 questions there, and hopefully you can see them well. What's the total amount of bets for the year? And in the taxable world, that's known as gambling losses. And that would be in your deductible section of personal income, or you can fill out a Schedule A or Schedule C to get those amounts, and they can never exceed your gambling winnings. But your total amount of bets for the year are $1,000 times 364, or $364,000 you will have bet that year. So those are actually technically losses because you've given that money to the casino. It's really the expense of doing business, right? What's the total amount won? That's what your taxable gambling winnings are. Technically, each day the casino would pay you back $1,010, your original $1,000 plus $10 in profit. So your answer there is $1,010 times 364 is 367,640. So the next question, number 3, is what's the net profit for the year? That should be pretty simple. You just take the division between those two. It's 3640, or you can do $10 a day. Profit times 364 days is $3,640. So that's really your net profit. I guess alternatively, you could try to put that in as your net income if you're doing taxes with it. But sometimes you get a W-2G from your casino, and in which case they'll state all this stuff, and now you got to really break it down. You got to have the bookwork, and then you got to have a deduction, and you have to itemize to get your money back. But just the quirks, I think it's line 21 and line 28 of the Schedule A, or you can try to be a sole proprietorship. But this is like a tax question, right? But anyways, the net profit for the year was $3,640, or $10 a day. What's the minimum bankroll you need to start funding the year, or to fund it? And a lot of people would say at this point, oh, you need $364,000, but you don't actually need $364,000. You really only need, answer please, $1,000. Because the first day you need $1,000 to make $1,000 worth of bets. And then the next day you'll have $1,010, and you can easily make $1,000 worth of bets. And the next day you'll have $1,020, et cetera, et cetera. And after a whole year, you'll actually be up $3,640. So you never need more than $1,000, because I'm not losing in any particular day here. If you lost money on your first day instead of making profit, then you would need more money to spit out the $1,000. But the point is, you do, for a relatively little amount of money, like $1,000 in your bank account, you can make $364,000 worth of bets if you bet $1,000 every day. So that's the minimum bankroll. Of course, you can have more. You could have $100,000 in bankroll and only spend $1,000 a day. I don't know what you do with the other $99,000. Maybe it's sitting in your savings account or just underneath your mattress. So what's your maximum ROI, percentage return? And that's where some people would say, oh, you're trying to do like 1,000 a day and you're making $10 on 364,000. You make $3,600 on 364,000. Well, I tend to roll it back a bit and just say, in my world, $3,640 of profit, and you needed an initial minimum. I guess the minimum investment of $1,000 is 364%. That's going to be your maximum return because you returned 3.6 times your original investment. Now, if your investment was higher, like $5,000, then yeah, it would be less than 100%. But you didn't need all that extra money, like I said, right? So that was a ROI calculation. How much in taxes are due? Well, that's a difficult question to answer, but the answer, drum roll, it really depends on how much you earn, because like I said, these are personal income, and if you have other income, like a normal job, that makes, I don't know, $100,000 a year, then you'd probably be in the 25%. All this extra money you make gambling would be on top of that, and you'd probably be in anywhere from the 29.5 to 39% tax bracket. So really 25% of that 3,640 would allegedly need to go to taxes, right? If you want to be a good citizen and pay your taxes, or if you, so for some reason, like I said, you got a W-2G or a 1099 other for, from your betting book, then you'll have to deal with that. But you could also do the marginal tax rate and say what it is, but pretty much it's personal income, and there's not a lot you can do. And like I said, you can't over deduct it. You can only deduct what you paid out. I guess you can, if you ever lose money on the year, then you don't get money back. It doesn't work that way. The taxes, you can only do losses up to the winnings. Question number 7, how much did the casino earn off you? Again, that's a little bit of a difficult question. But my answer is, of course, it depends on the bets, right, and what kind of payouts you're getting and what kind of win rates and everything else. But let's approximate that, it's minus 110 odds on an ATS. So on minus 110 odds, when you put a bet down, if you win, you get 10/11ths of the bet back as a profit, and the casino takes 1/11th. And of course, if you lose the bet, then the whole amount goes to the casino. But really, they use that money, in theory, to pay off the winners. So that's why they're trying to balance some action. If they can't balance the action, then they have to take it out of their bankroll. But sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. So sometimes they make more money than they had to, a lot more money than they had to pay out. And other times they won't even make enough back to pay out. But they're big sports books. That's the danger of a sport book going broke. But let's say you keep 10/11ths of the winnings, and your winnings were $10 per day, or really, it's not $10 per day. It's $1,010 is what you're getting back. So that if you take that 1,010 divided by 10, that's $101. So that'll be the remaining 1/11th based upon that bet. So the casino keeps $101. They pay you $1,010. And they actually need to bring in more than 1,010. They need to bring in 11 times 101, so that's going to be $1,111 in losing bets would be optimal on their end. If they could bring in people losing $1,111, then they could keep the 101 straight off of that and pay me $1,010, and everything would be good in their world. They make $101. So really, it's $101 per day, but that's kind of split between your bet and a theoretical opposing bet. But anyways, it ends up to a sizable chunk of money at the end of the day. It's $101 times 364 days is $36,764. So you can either claim that or claim half of that, or a little bit less than half of that if you're a winner. Of course, if you're a loser, you're actually donating a nice amount of profit to them. But that's kind of what it's worth. So you can see the casino has, even though they really like a bunch of losers that just turn over the money to them and get that right all the time, that doesn't balance their books. So even, I don't think they care a whole lot because they're making $36,000. I made $3,600. They made $36,000 in this particular example, but really $10 profit is just a little bit of profit every day. It only it added up to 3,600 over the year, but you're making $1,000 bets. You're really only up 3.6 bets, right? 3.6 units if you're betting $1,000 a day, if you think of it as one unit, right? So that's some interesting play on numbers and an interesting quiz. Hopefully you followed along and got those all relatively right. If you didn't, then refer back to this video or go ahead and ask some questions, all right? Thank you.